VigilanteWilliamson here with a very simple question, and that is, what do you think is going to happen with Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois? I used to cover a lot more boxing on my VigilanteWilliamson Vengeance channel. I haven't really been doing that as much, and that channel's kind of dead. I want to kind of roll the sports stuff I do talk about when I talk about it on this channel, and I probably should have did that from jump. That notwithstanding, big fight this week, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, and to be honest, maybe it's because I'm American, I don't see the fight as that big. It's not just because I'm American. I don't really think, spoiler alert for my pick, I don't see Daniel Dubois having that great of a chance. I mean, he's got a puncher's chance, I would say 80-20, but I feel like it's a fairly easy pick for AJ. If not for the love and hype and admiration that is coming from this fight from the British content creators and the British boxing content creators that I follow, I probably wouldn't care this much about the fight. Similarly, Berlanga, aka Bumlanga, just got beat on by Canelo the other week, and I didn't really have too much hype for that fight because I thought it was like a foregone conclusion fight. And I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect Daniel Dubois, I'm not trying to disrespect his recent wins, but I kind of feel like this is a foregone conclusion. I get that this is a huge fight for Britain. I understand that now. I mean, obviously the heavyweight division is, or at least historically, has been the premier division of boxing, and obviously Britain has had a huge say in that, and a bigger say than America has recently. And this fight, ironically enough, shout out to Turkey Al Sheik, old boss just the same as the new boss, or new boss just the same as the old boss, I should say, where this is for, I believe, the IBF championship that Daniel Dubois won via email. And a lot of that was, some of it was, they wanted to call their mandatories and they wanted to strip the belt. And then some of it, Turkey Al Sheik allegedly allowed. And why? Because after the rematch with Fury and Usyk, the winner of this fight sets up another undisputed championship opportunity, between the winners of both fights, between Dubois and Joshua and Fury and Usyk. My guess is they want Fury to win this second fight and fight Joshua. That's the big money fight. But you don't always get what you want. That said, when it comes back to this Dubois Joshua, I mean, I get there's a lot of stuff being made. I can't think of his name. I saw a Hatman video earlier, and apparently somebody is accusing Daniel Dubois of Voodoo, which could be, man. Could be. I know, was it Jerry in UFC accused Alex Pereira of the same thing? It's absolutely a possibility. It's entirely possible. It's absolutely a possibility that Daniel Dubois or his family is into some sort of witchcraft, voodoo, or something along those lines. I'm not saying he is, but people do that. People really do believe in that. People really do believe in rituals and spirits and all that stuff. I mean, I do, I believe in Jesus, and I don't believe that you should be messing around with that, but that's something that's out there. It's a lot of hype for this fight, man. It's a lot of hype. A lot's being made of Daniel Dubois' trainer, I believe his name's Don Charles, not really being in the press. I get that there is hype for Dubois, right? A lot of hype comes from his win against Jarrell Miller, who was a big dude and more than likely still on that shit because he got popped for all these different steroids and performance enhancers back, 5-6 years ago, and he's still huge. But Dubois was able to get through him. And then Filip Hrgovic, who, I thought was pretty overrated. I was even talking about it on the stream the other day. Shout out to Sencha Dildo, fellow Croatian. Filip Hrgovic just seems so basic, but he got a little bit of a rep as a semi-boogeyman because nobody really wanted to face him a few years ago. He ended up facing Zhang in a fight that I thought he lost, but he was credited with the win. And I guess he was a high-ranking guy, I believe, for the IBF. Again, I thought he was overrated, but Dubois got through him. But to me, those two wins aren't enough for me to think that Dubois is on Joshua's level. I'm sorry. I get that he's young. I get that there's this sparring situation that supposedly happened where Joshua was hurt by Dubois. I understand all that, but I just don't think he's on that same level. It's one thing to do it in sparring. I think one of Dubois' biggest issues is his confidence. And doing something in sparring and doing something when the lights are bright and the lights are on and the building is packed. I mean, was it in Wembley? Almost 100,000 people are going to be there at this fight. It's going to be a huge fight. It's a different energy. It's different. And AJ has been through that before many a time. Again, if you disagree, let me know. I'm not an AJ stan by any means, but I'm just recognizing the difference. Just like I'm not a Canelo stan, but I'm just recognizing the difference in talent level. But you know what? Filip Hrgović was overhyped. So that win looks decent because of how much hype Hrgović had. But to me, the only way you could be thinking Dubois has a chance against AJ, to me, is if you have a view that Dubois was jobbed out in his Usyk fight. Because that's the fight I haven't mentioned. That was before the Hrgović and the Jarrell Miller fight. He hit Usyk with a shot that I've seen called both as a low shot and as a legal shot. To me, it's the referee's discretion. The referee called it a low shot. He gave Usyk time to recover, and Usyk wiped him the rest of the fight. I mean, it was nowhere near close. But if that shot was called legal, which it could have been, to me it was right. I know it was on the belt line. I'm just telling you, certain referees will allow that shot, certain referees won't. That's just the reality of it. You can get mad. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the sport of boxing. People like to argue stuff that you see, and people like to shoot the messenger. I'm not saying, I thought it was close. I thought it was a close shot. I thought, like I said, some referees would have allowed it, but I've also seen it not called. I've also seen people say, hey, you're going too low. I'll take a point off for that type of shot. So whatever the case may be, in my head, for you to be favoring Dubois in this fight, you would have to think that shot was legal and that he can do that to AJ. And I know some people are making out a lot about the left hook. If you're talking about a technical standpoint, again, the AJ is susceptible to left hooks and Dubois has a pretty good one. But I just feel like Dubois' defense is not really there. It's not going to be as easy as the Ngannou fight. And maybe that's another issue. AJ hasn't really been fighting top tier talent recently, and he hasn't really been fighting as often as you'd like. He had that Jermaine Franklin fight. What was that? Was that last year? And then Ngannou, and then I might have the order wrong. Otto Wallin, and I can't remember which order, but I feel like that was all like last year. Maybe the Wallin fight was earlier this year. And it's just like, man, he hasn't been the most active. If that's your thinking, I understand that too. I'm trying to understand why this is such a hyped fight, because to me this seems like an easy win for AJ. Maybe you're just down on AJ. Maybe you think his time is past. He's obviously been noted for maybe his psychology not always being there. I was talking about Dubois. Can he do it with the license on? This is the biggest fight of his career. This isn't the biggest fight of AJ's career, but AJ had, kind of a meltdown after he lost to Usyk. So, and then since then has only fought. Granted, Ngannou was thought of before that fight as potentially a world beater for what he did to Fury, but he was really, I want to be respectful, but he wasn't a professional boxer, and that was evident in the AJ fight. He took Fury by surprise, and he deserves his credit for what he did to Fury. I thought he won that fight, but that notwithstanding, Ngannou got exposed by AJ, and that wasn't the hardest fight for AJ, and neither was the Wallin fight. He beat up on him. The Jermaine Franklin fight of the three, ironically enough, was the toughest. Shout out to Detroit. Detroit's in the building whenever Jermaine Franklin's in the building. He hit him. I think he's from Detroit. Maybe he's from Toledo, but I think he's from Detroit. In any event, he was probably the best boxer that AJ has fought recently. So I can understand if that's part of the thinking. Like, okay, Dubois is on a little bit of a hot streak. AJ is kind of meandering around. This is Dubois' time. Plus, Dubois is young. He's 26. AJ's in his, early mid-30s, probably 33, 34. I mean, granted, guys are fighting a lot, older. Usyk is damn near 40. You know what I'm saying? I get it, but you know that still is a thing. Plus, we know AJ's had his bell rung plenty of times. Not plenty, but enough, right? You know, you think about the Klitschko fight, the Dillian White fight, and obviously the Ruiz. Ruiz won. He definitely got pieced up. Even honestly, Usyk too. You know, he had a better performance in that Usyk fight, but I remember what was the 8th or 9th round. I can't remember the round number, but the round previous, AJ did well, and then Usyk came back and he gave him some smoke. People think Usyk doesn't hit quote unquote hard. Trust me, he punches hard enough for a heavyweight boxer, and he hit AJ. And he definitely, I don't know if you want to say hurt. He got him loopy in that round, so there was some damage taken there. So maybe you feel like it's just time. I don't know. To me, Voodoo, Hulu, Yoohoo, AJ and 6. No, I'm just joking. I don't know about all that. But I feel like AJ is going to win. It might go to the cards. It probably wouldn't shock me if it did go to the cards. But AJ and I'll say AJ on the cards. Could be a late stoppage. I can see, honestly, you know, I made the joke about AJ and 6. I can say if AJ doesn't get him out there by between the 6th and the 10th round, is probably going to the cards. Something about this, I feel like, even though I kind of talked about Daniel Dubois, I feel like he has enough to stand upright throughout the whole fight. So that's why I'm picking the cards. But between the 6th and the 10th, AJ's going to be dangerous. And Daniel Dubois could shock me. He could shock me and he could win, but I just don't see it. I still got him against, what was that guy? I want to say Kevin Levrone. It's not Levrone. He's a bodybuilder. Shout out to the 90s. Kevin Levrone, I believe. And Daniel Dubois looks terrible in that fight, and that's only a few years ago. But he's improved since. I definitely will say he's improved. But that fight is still in my head. Like, that's the guy that's supposed to beat AJ. I know he was a lot younger. He was greener. And he did hurt himself in that fight. He hurt his leg. The part of him hurting his leg was because he got clipped and his legs got wobbly. And in the effort to try to stable himself, he ended up tearing his ACL or hurting his ACL or something like that. So I don't know. You tell me. Do you see something I don't? I don't see Dubois as having as nearly as good of a chance as a lot of Brits do. I just see AJ run him over. Am I just being a dumb American? Please let me know. Let me know in the comments. I really want some feedback. We'll see how this fight goes. You know, I'll be watching it, and I thank you for watching this video. Like, share, sub if you want to, all that good stuff. I'll talk to all you guys later. Peace.